One more episode, guys, before we get on to the regular season for the Oakland Raiders here in Season 2 of the Oakland Raiders Connected Careers Mode series. What's going on, guys? We're here today for Week 3 and Week 4 in the preseason. The Raiders are finishing up things here as the games don't count yet, but we're getting a look at some of these young rookies we drafted as this draft class shapes up, and we look ahead to the 2013 regular season. But of course, be sure to watch out for guys like A.J. Ray, Patrick Papagiannopoulos, Harvey Bernard, Anthony Knoll, and James Hazard in this episode, as those guys are our main impact rookies and guys that have played well so far. A.J. Ray has been phenomenal, has definitely lived up to being a first-round pick. Remember, in the draft, we had traded down to the Minnesota Vikings, who won the Super Bowl, and picked A.J. Ray 32nd overall. I forget what receiver overall he was taken, but he has looked phenomenal so far. And perhaps in this episode he can seal his fate as being a starting receiver for the Oakland Raiders in his first year in the NFL. But of course you have to look ahead at his quarterback as well. Carson Palmer has struggled throughout the preseason so far with only a handful of series as he finds David Osbury on the outside on this throw, only for about 3 or 4 yards. And here's the graphic overlay. 5 yards total on the preseason so far. It has been ugly. There's been a lot of pressure given up on Carson Palmer. He's made some inaccurate passes, but he does find a nice pass here to get Brandon Myers for a first down, 13 yards ahead. So we just want the team to come together a little bit better than they have been so far in the preseason, but here's not helping. 3rd and 12, Carson dishes out a nice throw to Denarius Moore, who can't handle the curl route, and he drops what may have been a first down grab, but will go later in the game. And there is Darren McFadden running the ball. He's had a lot of great runs so far in the preseason. He's been electrifying, and now Carson off the play action. Good pressure pickup, and there is Rod Streeter making a catch, and he will take it the distance. Touchdown, Raiders. Rod Streeter, of course, is our leading receiver from 1 year ago. He came into the league last year as an undrafted rookie wide receiver out of Temple, and with injuries and a trade to 3 of our top receivers, Rod Streeter was left as being the top option for the passing offense, even after we picked up Terrell Owens, and he shined last year, and now he's battling for a starting role between Denarius Moore, him, and A.J. Ray. That's one of the big things we're looking at in this preseason, so let me know in the comment section, guys, what do you think our receiving core should look like? Because there's 2 different situations we can only start 2 receivers, Denarius Moore, Rod Streeter, or A.J. Ray. Obviously, Ray has been the most impressive so far, but last year we saw Denarius Moore make a lot of clutch catches, especially in traffic. And the other situation is at slot receiver. We picked up Danny Amendola to do battle with Jacoby Ford, and both of them have had pretty good preseason so far, with Amendola having a little bit better of a highlight reel to say from the preseason game so far. So basically, we have to choose our top 2 receivers and then who is going to be the primary slot guy between Amendola and Jacoby Ford. And Jacoby Ford is probably going to assume returning duties no matter what. But right now we're seeing Patrick Papagiannopoulos in the game as he's off to a little bit of a slow start compared to his last couple of games where he shined in the preseason. And he finds Richard Gordon on the backfield for a first down, and now a new set of downs for Big Papa. He'll throw it long. A.J. Ray, he is electrifying. A.J. Ray goes up, snags it. It's a 61-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Papagiannopoulos, and this is why we have A.J. Ray. Look at this throw. Papa is hit, and then A.J. Ray does the rest. Nasty. That was just sick. A.J. Ray has been nothing but impressive so far this preseason, and we're definitely happy to have him on the Oakland Raiders. And so, back to a little bit off-topic conversation. Be sure to leave your guys' thoughts on the preseason so far in the description, as well as your thoughts on the quarterback situation, the wide receiver situation, whatever your opinions are. I mean, Carson Palmer will be our starter going into Week 1. Big Papa isn't ready. Terrell Pryor's not the right guy. Right now, Carson Palmer is the starter until further notice. And here's another great catch by Danny Amendola. He's made a lot of good traffic catches, and that's one thing I really like about receivers, is when they can make catches in traffic and taking a hit doesn't bother them. And Patrick almost finds A.J. Ray again on the outside, but the rookie was unable to stay in bounds. It was a pretty good throw by A.J. Ray. And now we'll see a little bit of James Hazard. Haven't shown much of the rookie linebacker yet in the preseason. He will play behind Miles Burris and Philip Wheeler for now. He'll be a main rotational guy, and he may get some snaps at defensive end. I think he has the skills to be a pass rusher. He has 99 hit power, and I know he can lay a smack down. And I only showed this punt return here because I laughed when it happened. Mike Mitchell trying to make this team, trying to impress the coaches, just goes up and steals a punt return and gets immediately tackled. Pretty funny. And so, anyways, guys, remember to leave your comments in the comment section below. Can't stress that enough, really. I like reading you guys' feedback. It's always really interesting to see you guys' take on different things, and not just saying who you think should start over another player, but there's a lot of really insightful comments that I read that I'm like, hey, that's a pretty damn good idea. So remember, guys, leave comments, and I'll get back to some play-by-play now. It's 17-3 now as we head to the second half with the Oakland Raiders. It's Papa Giannopoulos out of the shotgun, taking the second half over, as actually Terrell Pryor is hurt. And I have not signed another quarterback because I'd rather get Papa the snaps, and Terrell Pryor is going to be back in the regular season. And look at this pass by to Jaron Kreiner. I did not think this was a play that he would make. He is likely the number 6 receiver or cut, depending on the roster as it shakes up. And he had both feet in bounds. A terrific catch by Jaron Kreiner, the second-year man out of the University of Arizona. And now Chris Ivory outside, a great block by Gordon. And there goes Chris Ivory to the end zone. A 50-yard pitch for a touchdown. And for a guy usually known for his power, it's nice to see him get outside and bust off the big one as he goes 50 yards for the score. And here's a little bit more of David Osbury, who's looked pretty good this preseason, having a good amount of catches, and he is the number 2 tight end behind Brandon Myers, and he actually has pretty much receiver size and speed, so I know he's a versatile guy who can see some time line up on the outside, but the main thing keeping him out of that role would be the fact that we have a decent group of receivers all the way down. Nobody really terrible, but we're looking for somebody to really stand out, and we're thinking maybe A.J. Ray could be that guy this year. And here is a failed attempt at trying to get Jaron Kreiner to make another play, and then the Raiders bust off the fake field goal, and with Big Papa as the quarterback, there's a roughing the quarterback penalty on Mark Barron, so the Raiders will keep this alive, and now have 4 receivers out, and Papa will throw it to Darren McFadden, who, it's always messed up in the preseason. The depth chart gets so jumbled, and usually default you have your running back playing like 3rd receiver, and so you always have to edit your depth chart and make sure you have the guys that you actually want to play when the computer automatically substitutes. And look at this, is a beautiful throw by Big Papa, getting it over the linebacker's head as he had his back turned. That is a huge big time throw from Big Papa. And here's another one, the same thing pretty much to A.J. Ray, just a bigger version, and A.J. will take it for 6. A.J. Ray, he's a starter, he's not a backup. Starters play like this. Backups do not do this type of thing. 38-3, the Raiders putting the hurt on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and still Big Papa is letting it fly and just racking up the yards today. Over 263 touchdowns as Jacoby Ford takes a shot on the play after he makes a terrific catch over the middle in the deep post. And now 1st and 10 for Big Papa, going to the outside again. Jaron Kreiner, as a lot of guys in the passing game today are showing their worth against Tampa Bay's horrid secondary. 1st and goal, Big Papa is intercepted by Gator. He wanted A.J. Ray, and that pass was well behind him, and the Bucs take over. The final score of this game would be 38-6, a big win over the Buccaneers for the Raiders, as Big Papa throws for over 300 yards in this game. And of course, there are big plays from Chris Ivory, A.J. Ray, Jaron Kreiner, stuff we are really happy to see. And here is one of the stories going around the NFL in this series. We have Devin Hester being released by the Chicago Bears. I believe now at this stage of his career he'd be 30 or 31 years old. And so he's available, and I was streaming at the time of this 4th game, and I let everybody see that. And of course, there was a lot of talk trying to get me to sign him. But guys, we have a young Jacoby Ford who has that type of return ability. And right now, we don't have room for 7 receivers when we know someone's going to get cut. And I'd rather have the youth and the talent that we have right now with our 6 receivers as we decide what we're going to do before the end of the year. Or end of the preseason, I mean. And we're in this game now with the Atlanta Falcons to close out the preseason. The starters will play the first quarter as we have A.J. Ray in there, I believe, as well. He'll play alongside Carson Palmer, trying to get a little bit of chemistry going with the wily old vet. And we'll see Matt Ryan doing some work on our defense. And now Michael Turner takes off. He gets a 1st down carry on 3rd down and short. And that drive would lead to an Atlanta field goal. So here is one of the final looks at our starting offense before the regular season. Darren McFadden goes up ahead. He's had a great preseason. After we put him on the trading block, he has really played well, and one of my concerns about him is that he had 6 fumbles 1 year ago, and that's the Denarius Moore that I've been looking for this whole preseason. 17 yards, takes a hit, and so he doesn't drop the ball, and that's why we keep it 17 yards. It's a great thing. And now McFadden, oh, a nice stick on the play I couldn't see the number there. Maybe that was Sean Weatherspoon. I couldn't really see. But 3rd down 11 comes up now for Carson Palmer, spreading out the field and takes the snap from under center. And hit as he throws, and this pass is nearly picked off over the middle. And that one came out of Palmer's hand, not the way he had anticipated. So it's 3-3 now, as we also... I forgot about this. We have 2 kickers on the roster right now, Greg Zerline and Sebastian Janikowski. And the thing there is, Sebastian is a veteran, but his skills haven't deteriorated enough to warrant really replacing him. But you're always thinking about replacing a veteran like that, whom you know could be any year away from retiring and calling it quits. As here is James Hazard coming through and getting a sack, as now Dominique Davis, the undrafted quarterback from last year out of ECU, which you may remember from my Vikings franchise. And now with this 3-3 game, we hit Richard Gordon out of the backfield. Nice throw from Big Papa. He'll be playing the rest of this game, as there are only 2 healthy quarterbacks on the roster, and we're certainly not going to throw a kicker out there. So Big Papa, we are getting an excellent look at his skill set and his ability so far as a rookie, drafted in the 6th round out of Georgia. And 3rd and 9 coming up for Big Papa. He will throw, lobs it to the end zone, and A.J. Ray makes the catch. A flag is down, roughing the quarterback on Atlanta. But A.J. Ray was ruled out of bounds. Another catch that he could have had if he had stayed in bounds. His 2nd of this episode. Not really a big deal. It's a really difficult thing to do sometimes given the situation. But A.J. Ray has been very impressive so far, and that's not going to take away from anything he has pulled off in this preseason with like 4 or 5 touchdowns. And now Big Papa finds an open. David Osbury leads him to an open spot, and he makes a catch for a 1st down into the red zone, as the Raiders look to extend their lead upon the Atlanta Falcons as we approach halftime. And a quick strike to Osbury again, as he has had a great preseason, but he is shaken up on this play. And so Marcel Reese will be the fullback, actually, with Richard Gordon going to the backfield. And we're stopped inside the 10-yard line. Great defense by Atlanta, and so we kick a field goal. And we'll put our defense out there to hopefully close out the first half with no more damage, as Harry Douglas almost makes a deep catch on the left side. Double covered on the play by Will Hill, and I believe Anthony Knoll as well, or it was Harvey Bernard. I have to learn my numbers to make sure I'm ready for the regular season. And here is Jerron Kreiner once again. He is battling for a roster spot as well. I mean, we have depth at certain areas, and receiver is always one that I've really loaded up on in the past. And Kreiner has actually played well for a 6th receiver. He didn't play much in year 1. He maybe had a handful of catches, and I don't know. I think he played behind Duke Calhoun for most of the season, and Duke really did not make the most of his opportunities. That's part of why he was not re-signed. So we're with 6 receivers right now with the acquisition of Danny Amendola just a little bit ago, and we may go into the season with 6 wideouts. Dominique Davis now on 3rd down. He goes down, sacked by Tommy Kelly. Getting in there, a starter in the 3rd quarter of the 4th preseason game. That's the kind of wacky stuff that can really mess things up in the preseason. And here is Papagiannopoulos. That throw was not intended for the tight end. That was intended for A.J. Ray. Trying to get him a few extra catches to close off the preseason, as he hasn't caught a pass until now for 9 yards. And a new set of downs to the 27. Play action for Big Papa under pressure. And look at the back shoulder throw. That is a huge throw by Big Papa. A back shoulder curl, a deep one at that, about 12-15 yards. As he was being hit, that was beautiful. And then Papa to the end zone one more time, guys. Just one more time to A.J. Ray. How good has he been? A.J. Ray's a starter. You guys can choose between Rod Streeter and Denarius Moore, because nobody's putting that guy on the bench in this series right now. And for the final play, or one of the final plays of the preseason, we will show you Harvey Bernard scooping up a fumble off of a hit by Mike Mitchell, lighting up Harry Douglas, and that's the way this would end. Here's one more look at it. Mike Mitchell coming in and just decks Harry Douglas, and Harvey Bernard picks up the fumble. So that is the end of the preseason, guys. We go 3-1 with 3 pretty dominant wins overall. Patrick Papagiannopoulos played very well throughout the preseason, and he was definitely one of our MVPs. I'd say our top 3 players in this preseason had to have been Danny Amendola, A.J. Ray, and Patrick Papagiannopoulos. And that's not taken away from anybody on the defense, but the offense really showcased themselves, especially the backups in this series. So anyways, guys, remember to leave your feedback in the comment section. I've said that about 50 times in this commentary. And now for the final cuts, we'll drop Von Miatoga, and at corner we're going to actually drop Chris Houston. Now you may look at his overall and say, what are you doing, Hurricane? What are you doing? I know what I'm doing. I got 2 young guys in there that were very good in the preseason. I'm more than comfortable getting them early playing time in their career alongside Pat Lee, who played well last year. And so Chris Houston, I'm not going to have him as a 4th corner. I want my rookies to play. They're ready to go. I want to get them the experience. So here's a look at the schedule, guys. One thing of note is that we play the entire NFC North this year, and including a 3-game-in-a-row stretch as we approach the end of the year. And here are some of the headlines from the preseason. You'll see that Devin Hester was actually picked up by the New Orleans Saints. Right here, a 1-year deal for $4.2 million for a 30 or 31-year-old kick returner slash part-time receiver, I guess. So here's a few more stories actually. One of the things I want to do this year is give you guys a better look at the whole season and the whole league, actually, like more standings and statistics to look at. I think it'll help you guys get more interested in this series, and if you guys like that, of course, let me know that you want to see more of that just to confirm my opinion or my idea right now in the comment section below. Hope to see a lot of comments and feedback on this video, but be ready, guys. Next week, we open up the regular season against the Cleveland Browns. Sadly, we'll be without Lamar Houston for about 5 games because he has an injury we have to take care of, but the Raiders are ready for week 1. Thank you guys for watching. Be ready. Silver and black in 2013. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you later.